and today we are talking about everything I made in 2024. I've been seeing so many of these videos lately and I decided not to make one because I didn't feel like I made everything that I wanted to make, but that's not a good enough reason. So let's celebrate all the things that I made this year. If you're new here, I'm a crafter and a musician and a gardener. I love all things nature. So if you're interested in any of those things, feel free to check out my channel. And if you're interested today in learning about maybe some cool things that I made this year and maybe some fails that I made this year, then stick around and let's see what I did. All right, so we're gonna try and do them kind of in order, but I don't have the exact order in front of me. So we're gonna start with something that I made for my baby nephew back in the beginning of the year. And this is a little crochet hat, a little lemon hat that I made for him. He was just born, so it was pretty small then. I felt really good about this. I got this yarn at a local shop. And it was, I think, from a local yarn like dyer and seller. And so I felt really good about that and about it being on his pretty little head. And that was my first make of it. So I'm currently in the second make because obviously he grew out of it. Baby's heads grow. So I'm in the middle of making the second one. And I also plan to make some socks with this yarn if I ever get done with this hat again. All right, so that was the hat. All right, so next was my first apron. I made this for a friend for maybe her birthday, and it was my first ever apron. I made it with just some thrifted fabric from Goodwill, and I made a heart pocket and embroidered a little mama on there because she was a new mom at the time. So I thought that was a pretty sweet gift. And since making that one, I've made one for my partner, for my dad for Father's Day, and then just for this Christmas, I made one for my sister and her husband and one for my mom and her partner. So I've made a few of them and hopefully the next one is for me because I could really use an apron. So feeling good about the aprons. They're pretty easy to make and they are really good for like practicing a lot of skills that are needed for other things like the making of the straps, making a pocket, all those good things. So lots of good practice in these projects. Next, I have something that I crocheted. And this I think is one of my only crochet makes this year, unfortunately, and I think it's the only one that I made for myself. And this is a vest, and I made it out of some thrifted wool yarn and also some wool yarn that I got online, and then I think there was one other yarn in there. So I like mixed a bunch of yarns, but most of it was from this stuff that I found at Goodwill, and it was hand-dyed local wool yarn. So pretty cool. So I made this and I've worn it a couple times, but I think that it needs a really good block because it kind of sits weird on the waist, especially in the back. So I'm gonna block it and see if it's better, and if not, I might take out the side panels because I kind of just rushed to finish those because I was trying to wear it to the event that night or whatever. So I might redo that with either a new column there or some ties, but the best top, I think, not too bad. So next we have a series of thrifted upcycles that I did with some bottoms. So the first one were these geometric pants. Well, it was a skirt first, the geometric skirt. I thrifted it many, many years ago. And I've always loved it, but I've only worn it like twice because I just don't really wear skirts very much. And it's more of a thick like winter skirt, and I really don't wear skirts in the winter. So I decided to make it into some pants to see if that would remedy the problem. This was my first time making a skirt into pants, and I watched some videos, but apparently not enough, because if you watch my video of me making this skirt, you might notice that I didn't do a great job of making it into pants. So this is something that I might try again. I have worn them once, but it's just funky the way it's gathered. I realized that pants have a seam all the way up the middle, not just from the crotch. So we're gonna play around with that, but I think we got better. So we saw some progress. The second one was this beautiful vintage dress that I got at Goodwill, a denim dress with like some beautiful embroidery. I wish that I embroidered this. People ask me if I did it, and I unfortunately did not, but somebody did, and it's amazing. I actually got this dress from like a little old lady. She had just tried it on and she was about to put it back on the rack, and I asked her about it and she was like, oh yeah, bellissima. So I knew it was a sign I had to have it, and I only wore it once as a dress, so I figured let's make it a jumpsuit, and that's what I did. And I did really prefer it as the jumpsuit. I think there again are some things that I might need to edit on it to make it a little more, to make it look like it's actually meant to be a jumpsuit. But I love the improvement, and again, I learned so much. So these two projects, I learned so much. And then another one upcycle of a bottom that was thrifted that was not a skirt was these corduroy pants, which I've had for many years and have worn many a time, but something about them wasn't vibing with my current style, and I thought that it was the legs. I thought it was the cuff. So I decided to make them a flare leg with some just fabric that I had laying around. I think I got it from my grandma or something. And it turned out really, really cute. Again, this was the first try, so I think I'm gonna have to take another whack at it to get a little more comfortable and to iron out some of the kinks. But again, like a really cool upcycle, and I do like them better as they are now than before, which I could say for I think all three of these upcycled items. Even though I haven't worn them significantly more than I did as the old items, I do like them better. I think that they work better for me. So this was the quilted upcycled tank top, and again, first try. I learned so much on this, and it came out pretty cute, but still I think I need to take another whack at it. It's kind of bunchy. I think I could have taken out, I took out some of the batting, but I could have taken out more of the batting, especially like in the chest and like armpit area, to make it a little less thick. I also hand sewed most of it, but after learning some more about my sewing machine and trying different things, I realized I can do that all on the machine. So I think that next time I try, maybe I'll do it with the same top, that I will use the machine, and hopefully that'll make some of it a little bit easier to handle, because again, like I was just rushing to finish it, as I always am, and kind of cut some corners. So but I think it came out pretty good. The inside does not look good because I didn't really know anything about doing the inside of a garment then. I don't really know much about it now, but I've watched videos on more of it, so I can tell you that it's not great on the inside. But let's see what's next. The next was my eclipse outfit. So my eclipse outfit, I made a top for the very first time, and you can watch the video of me making it somewhere here. So I made a top and I made a matching wiggle, and that was my very first wiggle. The wiggle design is from Carmen Christine, and that will be linked below. I highly recommend it. I've made, let's just look. I've made four beyond the one that I made for that video, for that event, the eclipse. So many wiggles, and the possibilities are endless. It makes me feel beautiful. So that might have been my biggest win make of the year, was the wiggle, realizing that that is a core part of my style now. So I did make this full outfit with the wiggle and the top. Obviously the rest I did not make, but I was really happy with it. I love the side tie situation. Next time I think I'll just use a different fabric. I used like the cheapest cotton like quilting fabric that I could get because it was my first time. And next time I'll get a different fabric and maybe actually try a pattern, because I did self-draft that pattern using a top that I like, and it was a little funky. That is when I realized that it's hard to make clothes, because it's hard to make clothes out of fabric rather than yarn, like crochet or knitting, because when you're making it out of fabric, especially cotton fabric, it is just a square and it doesn't like shape to your body. Whereas something that's crocheted, things that I've made in the past, knitting and crocheting, they kind of stretch and mold to your body. So very different game. I realized some things in this project, but it was a great one. So next I made my first two vests. This was the very first one right here, and they're both completely reversible, which is so exciting. This one was made out of a thrifted tablecloth, I believe, and then the back is like a bed sheet lining. And then I love this one. I think it's very fun. I've worn it many a time. So these vests were like pretty big wins for me. And then my second vest was with this cool fabric that I got at Joann's. I shouldn't have gone in there in the first place, but I got this amazing fabric. It was giving like summer picnic. And so I made a completely reversible vest out of that as well. And that one, I have a video, I just never posted. So maybe someday I will post that video. Let me know if you'd like to see me making a vest like this. I'm definitely gonna make another one, so maybe I'll make a new video for that. But anyway, the vests were a big success. I wore them all summer and still am wearing them, obviously, and love the vests. The second one I made a little bit narrower, a little bit smaller than this one, but I think I actually prefer this shape just for like everyday wear for me. So those were my vests. Okay, so then my last like summery make, I believe, was these overalls. Again, I don't have any of the original footage of this. I just delete things, I guess, for no reason. So here are just some screenshots of the story that is in my highlights on Instagram. You can check out my Instagram at Christina Amanita. And these overalls were really fun. I made them out of a thrifted quilt, a small thrifted quilt. It had some scalloping on the edges. It didn't come out quite as well on the bottoms as I'd hoped. And then I made the straps out of that same fabric. I just pulled out the batting and had just like the one layer of fabric. This was my first time doing a buttonhole, and it was pretty good. The first one was perfect. The second one, we had some hiccups, but we got there in the end. And I think these are really fun. I didn't get to wear them this summer because all of the events that I wanted to wear them to, like music festivals, were so hot. There was no way I was putting that thick fabric on me. So next time I make some short overalls, I think I'll use a pretty flowy fabric that's nice for those like 90-degree music festival vibes. Okay, so then I didn't really make a ton. Oh, I made this scarecrow for our garden. That's all I need to say about that. I made this scarecrow. And then it was like garden season, and we were out there in the garden every day, at least a little bit. And so I kind of lost track of making things for a long time there. I was really just out in the garden doing the things, using the things, drying the things, preserving the things. So we kind of had a shift, and that's just the life of, if you're doing like homesteading, slow living, like things are dictated by the seasons, by what's happening outside. If you're in tune with nature and you want to live a more natural life, then you're a little more following the weather and the seasons with the activities that you do in your day-to-day. So that's that. I took some time off, and then we came back for my nephew's first birthday, and I made him some froggy pants and a beautiful little birthday crown. So you can watch the video of that, and that'll be linked somewhere. And that was a really fun project. That was my first time making pants, even if they were baby pants, making anything for a baby, and also making a crown. I used free patterns online for both of those. I'll link those below, but they also are in the video. So check out my video of me making that stuff for my beautiful nephew's birthday. All right, the last few makes are Christmas makes. I didn't get pictures of all of these, but I will try to add them as I do if I can. So the first one is the tie that I made for my dad. I made him this wonderful tie out of this awesome reptile fabric because he's a reptile guy. And it just came out so wonderful. It made me so excited, and I wish that I had more people to make ties for. He's like the only person in my life that wears ties regularly. So maybe I'll make him some more ties. I had so much fun doing this. I used a free pattern online, which I will link below, and it was a huge success. I also made a bunch of scrunchies. I made a bunch of scrunchies for various people, for my partner, for my mom and my sister, for their birthdays, which are also around Christmas. And then I made a couple for myself while I was at it. So I made them out of that same fabric that I used for the other projects. Yeah, they do have hair on them. So the scrunchies are easy, and they were fun to make. They were quick makes, and they were a good gift to give. That's all I need to say about that. I already mentioned the aprons that I made for Christmas. I don't have any pictures of those, but I made 2 aprons. And then the last thing was some headphone covers that I made for my partner. I was gonna get him new headphones, and he reminded me that his headphones worked perfectly fine. It was just that the leathery stuff was peeling off, which was really gross to me. I don't want that on his skin. So I crocheted him with some cotton yarn from We Are Knitters. And I made just like some little covers. So hopefully I can snap a pic and add that in here. He loves them. His friends think they're cool and want some for themselves. I didn't really have I wasn't planning for them to be like warm for him because I know he wears them in the summer too, but he said they're pretty cozy. So that was a success. If you have some headphones that you're thinking about upgrading and instead they still work and instead you really just need new padding on them, I highly recommend crocheting. It was super easy to just freehand. I watched like one video and then I freehanded it and it was great. Okay, my very final make of this year was some orange earrings. And the oranges were actually provided to me by a friend. We did like a trade-off because we were making things together. We made candles together. And she left me with some beautiful dried oranges. And so I found the prettiest two and made them into some festive earrings. And I wore these for every event this holiday season. And I got compliments every single time. And they smelled so good. Every time I got a whiff, I was like, ooh, that's nice. So that was my final make of the year. Yeah, I think that's it. So we did it. We made it through all of my makes. I don't know the number. I will leave it somewhere once I tally it all up after the video. And I hope that you got a little maybe inspiration, maybe learned a little bit about the actual process of learning to sew. So these were just my like textile wearable makes this year. I obviously grew some things. I baked and made food items. I made things for the garden. So like there were lots more things that I made this year, but this was just kind of the wearable things. So if you'd like to see more videos about things that I'm making, whether that is like textiles and wearables or things that I'm like baking and creating for the garden and all of that, let me know down below. Thank you so much for watching, for sticking around to the end. I hope you like and subscribe. If you liked me, I'm Christina Amanita, and I hope to see you next time. Have a great 2025. Bye.